What's up? What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel, Sports, Life and Politics TV. I'm Samuel Koppel, YouTube's #1 couch detective, and I'm here for the news. Here recently, California has been hit with a couple of earthquakes. And, I've seen channels now saying, hey, I think a major earthquake is coming. On this channel, I don't just like to do the news. I like to try to give a little bit of foresight, a little bit of predictions forward. Now, obviously, nobody's perfect. You're not going to predict everything going forward, but some things to me are apparently clear when it's not so clear to others. Now, I've seen a lot of channels say, oh, yeah, California is well overdue. But last year, I made videos, as you can see at the top on the left, California atmospheric rivers, are they natural? Is an earthquake next? That's in the thumbnail and in the title. Now, I talked about cloud seeding, how they do control the weather. That don't mean every time it rains that is some kind of government control, but we know California had been going through a severe drought for like 25 years. And I seen so many different clips talking about cloud seeding. And the first time they started cloud seeding, you guys, was during the Vietnam War. I did a video on that, Operation Popeye. And some of these videos I made over a year ago, I asked the question, not only, we know they can control the weather. I asked, just in a theoretical way of, can they also control earthquakes? Is that possible? If you put like a nuclear weapon deep underground and you exploded it near a fault line, could that cause an earthquake? I don't know, but I would imagine with the diabolical politicians and government within America, there's no doubt they've studied that, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't know that they can do that. Yeah, I know that they can create tsunamis by using underwater nuclear weapons. We know that. That's a fact. So cloud seeding, we know that's a fact. But I don't know, these earthquakes, obviously the earthquakes are natural. There's no doubt about it. Rain is natural, as God made. We know that. But obviously man has, for a long time, wanted to control weather and control natural disasters. Now let's take a look at this clip I made, just the first minute. I made this video over a year ago. Hurricane Hillary, the aftermath, and see what I said, because I've been telling people, California is earthquakes is coming. I can feel it in my spirit. Earthquakes is coming. And as you can see, ever since I made this video last year, let's take a listen. What's up, folks? As you can see, I made this video. Let's take a look. I made this video almost a year to the day, 11 months ago. This is August 23rd, 2023. But let's take a listen to what I said 11 months ago. Back to the channel, Sports, Life and Politics TV. I'm Samuel Koppel, YouTube's #1 couch detective, and I'm here for the news. And here recently, there was a hurricane/tropical storm that blew through Southern California. And it's still on the go up in Northern America at this point. Montana, Idaho, Washington, and Oregon. But I made a video a couple days ago before the storm hit. And I said, hey, personally, I think this thing is weather manipulation. And I said, personally, I think California is due for an earthquake. Did an earthquake happen? Absolutely. Is this the only earthquake I'm talking about? Absolutely not. There are more to come. And as you can see, I said that 11 months ago. Is that the last? No, obviously, no, people might say, well, California is known for earthquakes, and it is. I'm saying here soon, within the next couple of years, the major one is coming. The shit I'm talking about is just catastrophic. Because we know if you have a 7.5 earthquake in Southern California, the destruction is going to be very, very widespread. God forbid if it's an 8, 8.5. We talking about, if it get to 8.5, maybe 9, we talking about state splitting. We talking about a new coastline. And I don't mean a coastline where, now I'm talking about where San Diego no longer exists. Los Angeles no longer exists. All of a sudden, Las Vegas is a lot closer to the beach than it used to be. By an hour or 2 hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. So yeah, I said that then. But I just wanted to go over that now we see that California is dealing with earthquakes. Let's take a look at this clip.
We're learning new details about the 4.4 magnitude earthquake that was felt across the LA area yesterday.
Now, this is a quake that happened on the Puente Hills Thrust Fault, which has the potential to be among the most destructive in our region. NBC4's Alex Rozier joins us now. He spoke to experts at Caltech for what this all means. Alex, what you learned?
Yeah, Robert, there are millions of people that live directly on top of the Puente Hills thrust fault system. Monday's earthquake was a 4.4, but research from 2005 said if a 7.5 magnitude earthquake hit on that same system, thousands of people may die, though. An earthquake of that size, 7.5, is expected once every few thousand years. But what experts want you to take away today is that you all need to take steps now so you are ready if a big one hits. Take a look at this map showing the Puente Hills thrust fault system. Pasadena's on top of it, so is downtown LA, even northern parts of Orange County. Monday's 4.4 magnitude quake.
And let me say this, earthquakes are extremely scary because a lot of things move, but one thing that usually doesn't move too often is the ground. So when the ground starts shaking, it's jarring and it's kind of confusing at first because obviously I've lived in California off and on my whole life. So it is confusing. As you can see, even the dogs don't know what to do. The two girls looking at each other, what the hell? Even though California deals with earthquakes, it still never feels natural. It always throws you off balance because the earth is literally shaking.
Senator El Sereno was within this potentially destructive fault system. Here's seismologist Dr. Lucy Jones.
We had a 6 on this system in 1987, and it was like $350 million in damage and 3 direct deaths. So when we've modeled what would it be like to have a 7.5 on the Puente Hills thrust, we get 10 times as much damage as we see for a 7.9 on the San Andreas, because we have so many more buildings and people on top of an earthquake if it's Puente Hills.
Monday's 4.4 magnitude earthquake happened in the same area as a 3.4 magnitude earthquake June 2nd, and both produced aftershocks nearby.
So they're all in about the same location, somewhere within the Puente Hills thrust system.
So what should the everyday Californian take from that?
Not much. We have earthquakes. This is a great reminder that all of Southern California is earthquake country. Every one of us in the Los Angeles metropolitan area.
Well, I disagree with her one thing. She keeps saying, "Whoa, not much my ass." You need to be completely prepared as much as you can. Like I said, if it's an earthquake that's an 8 or 8.5, it's over with. So it don't even matter. But 7.5, yes, there's going to be major destruction, but at least you should be prepared. Generators, food, water, flashlight, extra batteries, first aid kits, trauma kits, all that type of shit. Just the bare essentials, especially for you California folks, there's no doubt about it. But earthquakes can happen damn near anywhere because I think it's fault lines all around the earth that's deep underground. So, they had an earthquake in New York, I think, last year, which people didn't even know it was fault lines in New York, but they're everywhere. They're more than what you just think. So it's better to be prepared. It's better to have it and not need it and need it and not have it.
Yeah, is within 5 miles of an active fault. And which one of those are going to go within our lifetime is random. Do what you can to make your house safer. I think maybe that's the final message. Remember that most of the damage is preventable and it's up to you to do it.
Thankfully, many Southern California cities have ordered that certain buildings be earthquake retrofit, which will hopefully help reduce death and destruction if a big earthquake were to hit. But as Dr. Lucy Jones said right there, she wants you to do what you can right now so you stay safe if it happens. Reporting live in Pasadena, I'm Alex Rozier, NBC4 News.
And one thing I learned about listening to white people on certain subjects, it's not that they always wrong, but sometimes they give terrible advice. Like they say, "Oh, what do you do? Oh, it's just the timeline is once every 2,000 years." You ain't got that damn timeline figured out on these earthquakes. You don't know that at all. You don't have the timeline figured out. That shit can go at any time. It's like Yellowstone. It's a huge volcano. So it can go at any time. It don't care about your timeline. Don't care if it went 10,000 years ago. The next time it can be 5,000. The next time it can be 3,000. You don't know what the goddamn timeline is. So I just wanted to go over that clip for some California folks. And I have been predicting earthquakes, and more earthquakes are coming until the big one finally releases. Because California, it seems like the state that's overdue. But there's a lot of warnings and there's a lot of people who starting to see it. There's no doubt about that. But, I hope it don't happen though. But in my opinion, yes, one is coming here soon. And soon can be within the next couple of years. Or tomorrow, you never know. Let's take a look at this. Americans see Harris as more honest than Trump. Well, that's easy to say considering that Donald Trump is out in the public 24 hours a day, basically 7 days a week. Harris has been hiding as a vice president. She's been in the back room. They had her in the back room at least for about a year, 2 years. We hadn't heard a lot from Vice President Kamala Harris. So now she comes out, she pops out. She hasn't said a lot. We don't know where she stands on any of the issues or any of the policies at this point. So yes, she's hiding. Could Kamala win? Yeah, she has a small chance because like they did with Biden, they hid Biden in the basement. He never really ran a real campaign. So I think they're going to go with that strategy again. Have her not say a lot. Don't have her stand on really no real policies. It's only got 3 months. And then, try to get her over the finish line. Is that a smart? Do I think that's smart? 100%. That's the best way to do it. Kamala Harris, she's not the brightest apple on the tree. She's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. There's no doubt about that. She's a laugher. She's a giggler. She doesn't speak very well. She doesn't command a room. None of that shit. She doesn't have any of the qualities of a leader. That don't mean that any of these people are to be trusted. All politicians are paid actors. There's no doubt about that. They all get out there and act. That's why when you see behind the scenes of their life, it's always complete opposite of what they telling you on TV. But let's take a look at the clip.
As the DNC approaches, Democrats are excited about their presidential candidate in a way they weren't just a month ago. A new AP North poll found that 2/3 of Democrats say they'd be extremely or very excited if Harris was elected the next president. That's compared to only 4 in 10 who said that about Biden back in March.
Voters, both Democrats and Republicans, and particularly independents, were not happy with a repeat of the 2020 election. So poll after poll demonstrated that voters expressed some level of disdain and antipathy towards Biden-Trump 2024 rematch.
With that new enthusiasm, some Democrats are also more optimistic about their candidate's chances of winning in November. In early July, before Biden dropped out of the race, Americans were twice as likely to say that Trump was more capable than Biden of winning the election in November. Now, Americans are equally likely to say that Trump and Harris are capable of winning in 2024. The AP North poll also showed that Americans give Harris an edge over Trump on traits like honesty, discipline, and commitment to democracy.
And the only thing that's disingenuous about the poll is she ain't been thrusted into the light and had to stand on anything. So when they say more trustworthy, she's been the vice president. She's been in the back, so we haven't really heard a lot from her. So the thing is, yes, Trump might say some shit. All politicians lie. They all say things that are untrue. But if you don't say anything at all, of course you're going to come across as more honest. That's why I say it's a very smart strategy for the Democrats not to have any goddamn debates. Don't put her in one-on-one interviews. Don't do any of that. I remember they did that shit to Sarah Palin, and she crumbled. And I think if you put the heat on Kamala, she'll fold up. So they're not going to let you put any heat on her. None at all. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
But Americans also gave Trump a slight advantage on his handling of immigration and the economy. Those are two issues that could be important in November.
I would say on the flip side, not all is lost for Donald Trump. Again, we are very early on in this fight. This is, if you follow boxing, we're not even in the 3rd or 4th round here. It's still a very competitive race.
Americans are equally likely to see Trump and Harris as a strong leader and someone who is capable of handling a crisis, according to the new poll. But there are also warning signs for Harris in the poll. Only about 6 in 10 Democrats trust her to do a better job than Trump handling the war in Gaza, for example, which was lower than other issues in the poll.
The question is whether or not she can sustain this momentum, sustain this level of enthusiasm and excitement, and get her to become the first African-American female president of the United States.
Boy, they are using the term African-American very loosely. This lady is not an African. Look, none of us are African. I know that black people, none Negroes is African American, but I'm just saying, she's saying that she's an American Negro, and she is not. Her mom is Indian. She was raised up as Indian. They got pictures of her with the red dot on her forehead. She's not like us lineage-wise, culturally-wise. She's not with us or like us in any way, shape, or form. That's ridiculous. But they'll run that shit until they can try to get her into the White House. Once she doesn't get into the White House, she goes back to being a senator or whatever else she's going to do later on down the line. She will most definitely be an Indian American woman. They called her. That's what they were saying after she became the first vice president. They weren't saying the first black woman vice president. They were saying the first Asian, the first Indian, the first everything but nigga. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, you guys. There's no doubt about that. Let's take a look at this next clip. Frustration growing in Israel as Gaza ahead of ceasefire talks. Do Israel want a ceasefire? Absolutely not. I've been saying from the very beginning, I'm telling you, my foresight is really good at a lot of this shit. They're going to destroy as much as Palestine as they possibly can. All of this punt faking. They keep they're killing or assassinating the generals of Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran. They keep doing all of these things to ratchet it up, and then at the same time tell you that they're trying to they want a ceasefire. That's bullshit. Benjamin Netanyahu does not want a ceasefire. Him and his war cabinet, they don't want a ceasefire. That's out. But let's take a look at this clip.
President Biden has surged diplomats and military assets to the Middle East to try to head off tensions between Israel, Iran, and its proxies. Meanwhile, CIA Director Bill Burns is en route to the region for negotiations over a ceasefire and hostage deal in Gaza. CBS's Rami Inocencio reports tonight from Tel Aviv.
A father for just 4 days, Mohammed Abu Kamasan lost his wife and their twin 4-day-old babies. Asir, a boy, and Asil, a girl, in an Israeli.
And I'm gonna tell you this. Believe it or not, this conflict in Palestine is hurting the Democrats terribly. It's killing them because we know Trump said he this is the only thing I really respect this about Trump. He's open and honest a lot of times about where his positions and his stances are. He's saying he was supporting Israel no matter what, and if he was in president, he'll let them finish the war. Look, do I agree with that? Not technically. I mean, as a Negro, I really don't care. We got our own issues we trying to fix, but just from a person who likes politics and geopolitics and the world and war and conflict, not like, but watch and try to get some discernment out of, some understanding out of it. This is killing them because they're waffling on this issue. As you see those two babies, when you killing babies, that's not good for business. That's not something that you can sustain for a long time. They've killed thousands of babies, thousands of kids, thousands of teenagers, thousands of old men and women. So the numbers are growing astronomically day by day. When you see these type of photos, that doesn't help. We stay in an image-based society. These images are a killer. You killing 4 months? Are you killing 4-day-olds? That's what you're doing? That's cool. So, as many people, babies you kill, that's more terrorists that you quote-unquote create. But I will say this, like I said in the other video about Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran, especially Iran. I keep saying I think Iran is in cahoots with America and Israel because when they kill their generals, they talk about, oh yeah, we're going to attack. We're going to attack. They come out publicly and tell you everything they're going to do. Then America sent all the warships, all the submarines. They sent everything in place to shoot everything down. It's never no surprise attack. So interesting. It's something that you got to watch. There's no doubt about that. A lot of this stuff is orchestrated and staged. That don't mean real people aren't dying because they are, but the people and the powers at the top are orchestrating these things. There's no doubt about that.
Strike on central Gaza. Just days before Hamas said it would not join ceasefire talks, blaming Israel as the block to a truce, and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for wanting to prolong the war in Gaza and to expand it in the Middle East.
Of course.
A truce too late for so many.
There ain't no truce.
I was away to get their birth certificates, he said. I didn't even have time to celebrate them. Now he must bury them. His family, among the nearly 40,000 Gazans killed since October 7th, says the Hamas-run health ministry.
We need to focus on the deal.
In Israel, Alon Gatz is angry. He wants a ceasefire now.
And everyone says that, except Benjamin Netanyahu.
Alon's big sister, Carmel, is still a hostage in Gaza, more than 10 months after Hamas and other militants broke into their home in Kibbutz Be'eri.
Breaking the glass door, moving in, taking your family, members of your family, taking yourself, tying your hands, always pointing.
Like I said, I did videos. That whole October 7th thing was completely orchestrated, and Israel let it happen. There's no doubt about it, so they could rage war. And I told you back then that Benjamin Netanyahu was completely in trouble. He was about to be ousted and thrown out of government. So this war was great for him. He wanted to prolong it as long as possible, because as soon as this shit's over, he's done. So that's why he wants to expand the war. He wants to keep the war going, and at all costs, he will keep escalating this thing.
Kalashnikov gun into your face, shouting at you.
If there is no ceasefire deal, what happens?
I don't want to think about it. I think that if this will fall, I won't see my sister again alive.
And the losses of Muhammad in Gaza and Alon in Israel are the horrifying stories on both sides of this war. Hopefully these broken families remind us why that ceasefire is so important and that days matter, because human lives hang in the balance. Major.
Premier Inocencio, thank you.
Like I said, I think most definitely America has moved more warships in the area. They've moved more submarines. They've restocked all their, I forgot, I think it's the missiles for the Iron Dome defense to shoot all the drones and shit out of the sky. So when Iran do attack, they'll do the minimum amount of damage as possible. Because there's no way you can, you can tell a person what you're going to do. We know the number one rule of war is deception. I mean, goddamn. Even they know that. Everybody's read the Art of War who's in the military or in government, everybody. So they know the number one rule of war is deception. But Iran completely tells their whole game plan before it even happens. Unbelievable. Yeah. Let's take a look at this. Royce White versus Joe Frazier in Senate primary. I remember Royce White. Royce White played for Iowa State basketball, left-handed, kind of like I ain't gonna say he was LeBron, but I'm saying his game was like he could pass, he could dribble, he was big and strong, left-handed. He had one problem. He couldn't fly on airplanes. So that ended his career. He said he had a lot of problems with social anxiety and mental health issues, and that's the fastest way to get somebody moving from around in the NBA. You can't have all those issues, especially not flying. That's absurd. But let's take a look at this. Royce White, ex-basketball player, running for Senate.
In Tuesday's primary, there are 7 Republicans vying for the opportunity to run for U.S. Senate in the fall. Our John Croman has a look at the top 2 candidates, Joe Frazier and Royce White.
We throw away more food than we eat, and yet you pay 120% for a loaf of bread.
On the 4th of July, Republican Senate candidate Royce White rallied with supporters outside the Federal Reserve Bank, which he views as part of a system designed to enslave Americans into a global economy.
That happens when bureaucrats sit up in ivory towers and they think that you're nothing more than inventory.
He first came to prominence as an athlete, named Minnesota Mr. Basketball in 2009, signed by the Gophers, left to star at Iowa State, then drafted first round by the Houston Rockets. But his NBA career was cut short when the league couldn't make enough accommodations for his anxiety issues.
Mental health is talked about in hushed tones in America.
White led marches in the weeks and months after George Floyd was murdered.
Today we have to send a different message.
He lost a bid for Congress in 2022, but continued to...
And as you can see, all politicians are put on any face in order to win. At first, it looked like he was with a Black Lives Matter march. And the motherfucker had on an enemy vest, and he had his fist in the air. And now he's running with some Kentucky white junkies. I don't know where he got this group of goddamn white people from. But they have been dug up from the bottom of West Virginia. There's no doubt about that shit. Look at these motherfucking hobos. Look. You talking about white lowlifes. Jesus Christ.
Voters through his conservative populist podcast.
Kamala Harris ain't black.
White won the party's
She's not.
for Senate and supports former President Donald Trump and his MAGA movement.
Where in the fuck? He went from that. That's why I say never trust a politician. They're all paid actors. They'll jump from Republican to Democrat to Independent, wherever they think they can win at. They'll switch policies on your ass. They'll be They'll be anti-abortion, then they be pro-abortion. They jump both sides, buddy. They don't give a damn. And as you can see, this video is fantastic in illustrating that. Fantastic. And look at this fat Bob the Builder down here at the bottom of it. Oh, wow. Look at all these motherfucking white people. Well, there ain't nothing wrong if you get white support. But when you ain't got a nigga within 100-mile sight, something ain't right, Royce. Something ain't right.
Just don't want to have their country be run by liberals and communists.
His main challenger in the Republican primary is Joe Frazier, who spent 26 years in the Navy before a career in banking.
I can stand up for what I believe in, stand on my principles, stand up against the party bosses and say, I disagree with you.
Republicans haven't won a statewide race in Minnesota since 2006, but Frazier asserts conditions are ripe for an upset.
People care about what's coming out of their wallet these days and how much it's expensive, how expensive it is to buy groceries.
Yeah, it is expensive.
And rent, you can't even buy.
Both candidates are talking about the electability factor because whoever wins this race will face Amy Klobuchar in November. She's looking to win her 4th term to the Senate. In Minneapolis, John Croman, KARE 11 News.
They only talk about the price of groceries and gas when election time comes. Wow. Unbelievable. But, Royce White running for Senate. Senate, and you get into the Senate, boy, that's a powerful position right there, Jack. Every politician, if you can't get into the Senate, you go for Congress and you go for city council. You know what I mean? It's like you go step by step. But if you can get into the Senate, yeah, that's what a real power brokers is right there, brother. Oh, my God. That's why you see some of them people, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, and the list goes on and on of senators. They be there forever. They be 199 years old, still in there. They have, what was the white man name that kept freezing? Damn, I can't. Was it Mitch McConnell? One of them, I think it was Mitch McConnell. The man just freezes up. They still running him out there. They had the other lady, I forgot, she was in the Supreme Court. She was older than fucking Methuselah. She was still up there. It was ridiculous. They just keep them people around forever. So you can get into that Senate, boy. You're in a sweet spot politically. Let's take a look at this. DEA massive amount of meth seized in Metro Atlanta Forum. That is a whole lot of meth, and somebody lost a whole lot of money. So somebody was working undercover. There's no doubt. You don't find that much meth through happenstance and accident. Let's take a look at this clip.
A whole lot of meth. Atlanta News First anchor Troy Cooper joins us live from the Drug Enforcement Administration field office in Atlanta. Troy, the DEA says this is unusual for the area. They're calling this a confidence attempt by what they're saying was a cartel.
The DEA says a seizure of this magnitude usually only happens at the U.S. border of Mexico. When I had a chance to speak with some of the local vendors today at the Atlanta State Farmers Market, not only were they all too scared to go on camera to talk about this issue, but they said this is what everyone is talking about at the farmers market.
You will be prosecuted and you will go to prison. We're going to work every single day to make sure that that's the case.
A stern message from the Georgia Department of Agriculture to the drug traffickers eyeing Georgia's agriculture industry as a possible mechanism for illegal drug distribution.
This is the largest meth seizure we've ever had here in DEA Atlanta. And again, this is the 3rd largest seizure total DEA-wide of methamphetamine this year.
The Drug Enforcement Administration says they got a tip about a massive load of methamphetamine that was making its way.
He said they got a tip. You ain't no fucking tip. Yeah, somebody working undercover, but obviously they can't say that because they don't want to give away. But yeah, you ain't got no guy. Look at that shit. And you ain't got no tip on that. You get a tip that is a loose dog in the neighborhood, a loose pit bull. You ain't got no tip on fucking $20 million in meth. However, I don't know how much that is, but it's a lot.
Across the U.S.-Mexico border, heading to the Atlanta State Farmers Market. The multi-agency task force traced the tip to a tractor trailer and discovered more than 2,000 pounds of methamphetamine packed in with celery produce, disguised in green bags to hide the contraband. Task force agents arrested Jesus Martinez.
It is the produce terminal for the southeastern United States. And if drugs are moving through there, there is a possibility for...
Well, Jesus Martinez has the least amount to do with this 9 times out of 10. If he was just driving it, which is his driver, it wasn't his. All he was doing was taking it from point A to point B. So they questioned the shit out of him. So He's in danger. His family's in danger. Everybody's in danger around him. There's no doubt about that. If he has a family, he can't say a word. He'll have to do this time. So if he's working with the cartel, we know they known for being brutal, Jack. Yeah, they cutting off heads, kidnapping babies. They don't give a damn.
Food contamination, and we know that. So it's important that we keep our consumers safe.
Local vendors we spoke to were too afraid to go on camera, but they told us off camera it's disappointing for small vendors who come here to work hard to make a living. They said it's hard enough as it is to attract business, and this doesn't make it any easier. Paying customers were outraged.
Really? I have grandchildren and children. And at a farmer's market? No, dear.
Yeah, I'm sorry to tell you, sister. That's how they smuggle it through food. 9 times out of 10. Yeah, that's the perfect way, because people just, everybody, we know we got to move food around the country. Them truck drivers got to move that food, so that's not shocking. She can't be shocked. She's too old. She know better.
Now, the DEA says that this is proof that the cartels have a well-established foothold here in Georgia, and now they're just working to determine which cartel was responsible for this.
Sinaloa.
Reporting live in Southwest Atlanta tonight, I'm Tori Cooper, Atlanta News.
I'm just bullshit. I have no idea. But a deadly house explosion in Maryland. I covered this shit in my news clips. There's been so many house explosions over the past. Now, obviously, there's gas leaks and explosions happen. But over the past year and a half, the home explosion rate has skyrocketed in America. Let's take a look at this clip. And I asked, what the hell is going on?
Terrifying moments near Baltimore, Maryland.
A house explosion with fire.
After a house explosion rattled this neighborhood. Doorbell.
What the hell? Start update. Hold on, y'all. Just bear with me. Bear with me. I got another way to go right back to my channel. That's crazy. That thing says start an update. They out of line.
You done?
But that thing says start an update. They out of line during the middle of my video. Wow. Okay, here we go.
Doorbell camera video appearing to record the sound of the blast. Authorities say early this morning, contractors arrived on scene responding to reports of a possible gas leak.
I legitimately thought it was an earthquake, a major earthquake.
Officials say they received some 60 calls about the explosion, some from as far as about 3 miles away from where I'm standing.
I've been on the job for nearly 18 years. This is one of the largest explosions I've seen.
The blast killed 2 people, according to a Maryland state fire marshal. A 35-year-old man who was a Baltimore gas and electric contractor, and the 73-year-old homeowner. Officials say a woman at a nearby home was also injured.
Confirmed there was a gas leak. However, we're supposed to remain under investigation if it was on the interior of the house or on the exterior.
Megan Weeks' daughter was at home with a babysitter when the blast occurred.
I imagine getting that phone call must have been one of the worst feelings in the world.
It was pretty scary. I could feel my heart drop.
Her daughter uninjured, but her bedroom damaged. Weeks says the explosion...
Another thing that I noticed, now that I'm thinking about, a lot of these home explosions are taking place on the East Coast, and I wonder, is it age of gas lines and all the pipes? I wonder, how long and what's the shelf life on the gas lines and shit? Are they being replaced properly? Because a lot of these happen on the East Coast, and I think the infrastructure of America needs a huge upgrade. There's no doubt about that.
This crack in the ceiling.
It's very scary. I'm actually nervous about. That could very well happen to.
I would imagine, yeah, that's nerve-wracking.
Today, emergency services going door to door to check for additional leaks. Investigators combing the debris, searching for answers about what caused this fatal explosion.
That shit looked like a nuke went off, didn't it? That completely obliterated.
There may have been warning signs about a gas leak even days before this explosion.
Right now, the investigators say neighbors reported smelling gas in recent days, but never officially reported it. Now they're working to determine what caused all this, and that could take days, if not weeks. Allie?
George Solis live for us there in Bel Air, Maryland.
Thanks for watching. That's unfortunate for the man who actually went down there in the gas, and that shit, man, that's crazy. There's no doubt about that. I was gonna go. I'm gonna say this video for another day. This is a video on this man right here. What was this for? I forgot this fucking man's name. Let me see what his name is. This man was doing some of the most heinous acts to children you would ever believe.
Several charges related to children. 38-year-old David Calhoun was a...
David Calhoun. I'm gonna say that video for another day, but David Calhoun was out here doing some sick and most foul things you could possibly do. And I always talk about black people have problems. They tell black people why don't black on black crime and young black men kill each other and shoot. Yes, and it does happen. But white people also have their own set of issues, and I promise you pedophilia is one of them. That doesn't mean all white people are pedophiles, or I'm not saying nothing like that, but it is a huge problem within a race of abuse of children, whether it be ritualistic sexual abuse, or whether it's physical abuse, or whether it's all of the above. But it is a huge problem. And this woman, believe it or not, she wasn't being abused. She was one of the abused her with him. He had 2 wives. I think he had a wife and a girlfriend, or 2 wives, and they all was abusing children. But I'm gonna go over that clip. I'm gonna say that for another day though. I'm gonna go over these last 2 clips. Whale capsized boat off coast of New Hampshire. And I talk about these animals, they sick of these boats and all this fishing. You are become direct competition to animals. Not only that, they kill some of these animals underwater using sonar, when all them submarines, and there's a lot of shit going on underwater around the world where there are large amounts of whales and fucking dolphins or whatever it is, sea life that wash up the shore because of underwater sonar. Let's take a look at this clip.
Well, this was a wild sight to say the least. A whale jumping out of the water and then capsizing a boat off the coastline of New Hampshire. That crash sent the man on board flying into the water.
2 teenagers on another boat captured that incredible incident on camera, and they tell WBZ's Mike Sullivan it was something they will never forget.
And let me say this, I've never seen a black person get knocked off of a boat with a whale. Has it happened? I'm pretty sure it has, but that's a rare occurrence. It's like seeing a goddamn Bigfoot or a Yeti. You're not going to get us out there in the water. And if we see wildlife, and God forbid we in control of it, but we're going to go the other way. We'll take a picture from afar, but we don't want to be right up on no goddamn blue whales or no damn orcas and none of that shit. It's always white people get their ass popped out of the goddamn Popeye boat.
The risk when you come out here, it's really unusual what happened to us this morning.
Greg Packett and Ryland Kenny were fishing up the waters of Rye, cruising out no different than now. Only then their boats had been capsized by a whale.
Thankfully, it was slow enough that I could kind of swim my way out away from it before it completely capsized.
Colin and Wyatt Yeager were fishing nearby when it happened.
We saw it come out a few more times.
The whale was feeding off pogies below. Colin had his rod in one hand, a phone in the other.
It's unreal, completely unreal.
He snagged a striper on his line right as he hit record on this video.
Yeah, all of a sudden, bam, right there.
The whale leaped out of the water, cresting over Greg and Ryland's boat.
He just happened to come up, he had a mouthful of fish coming in and just crashed down on the back of the boat.
The bow rose into the air, submerging and rolling their boat.
Not much time to react. And so I took a few steps up.
And they be like, oh, it's just complete accident, such and such. You don't know. These whales, dolphins, and sperm whales, and orcas, and they're some of the smartest mammals on the planet besides human beings. You out there fishing, and they fishing. And you in their little area, that's their water. And here you come. White people always find themselves in the most vicarious position when it comes to wildlife. It's unbelievable. But then they love to go right back to the same scene of the crime. So I never feel sorry for them. I always root for the animal. Let me make that perfectly clear. If you idiotic enough to go running on a trail where mountain lions is at and the mountain lion gets you, it is what it is.
Basically did a Superman off the boat.
It took Ryland several frantic moments to even find Greg in the water.
I honestly didn't think we were in the water a minute, if that.
That's because the 2 boys came to their rescue.
It was just kind of instant. Immediately just kind of started driving over. I didn't have a line in the water.
Both men made it out safely. The boat and their belongings, not so much.
Oh yeah, I tried to find my iPhone. I wanted to see where it was, but unfortunately there was no signal, so.
You have been watching our ride back to the scene where it all happened.
Oh, there you go.
So white people go right back.
Still hasn't left.
And the whales still out there.
Their ocean, so, we're in their way.
When we drove out here,
Really?
I don't think you had a life vest on. And then as soon as we saw the whale again, now you have the life vest on.
Yeah.
I'm always gonna have a life jacket on.
So should anyone willing to cross his path again. In Rye, I'm Mike Sullivan, WBZ News.
It looks like one of those toy boats that just goes whoop.
You see people in kayaks with whales around and they don't freak out? Now they might freak out.
Incredible. Thanks.
Incredible. I'm going to go out there a little later. Boy, I tell you. Let's end it off with the last video of the day. Video shows driver run over boss in West Las Vegas neighborhood. There'll be a lot of wild and wacky shit happening here in Vegas. And I always said I'm going to start ending off the day with something that happened here in the city I live in, which is Las Vegas, Nevada, Sin City. Let's take a look at the clip.
A man is dead accused of using an SUV to run into his boss who had just fired him.
Police say his rage led to a deadly shooting that sent 2 people to the hospital. This was around 6:30 last night near Charleston and Decatur in the West Valley. 8 News Now reporter Ryan Mathey has a video of it happening.
I heard somebody say he's coming back, and I couldn't move.
67-year-old.
Let me say this: Las Vegas is home of the white dough fiend. We have more meth, fentanyl users than per capita than anywhere in America. Look at this man. He's doing a live interview sitting on one of the men drinking a fucking soda pop. I don't even know if that's a soda pop. It's probably some old ass cup. He didn't fill some, put a Coke 45 in there, some old raggedy ass beer, and he's sitting his ass up there. We have more people who do drugs in rehab or who didn't relapse than anywhere in America. And we just got the most, some of these white people are tore the fuck up around here. But look at this clown sitting on this fucking stoop with his flip-flops on. Look at him. He just said somebody should have hit him. I ain't telling what he done did out there.
Bowman dodged death. A disgruntled construction worker was driving a deadly weapon, but Bowman wasn't the target.
The suspect entered into the vehicle and began trying to chase down his employer.
Police say a nearby home was being remodeled Thursday evening, indicating one worker showed up to work intoxicated. Fired by his boss on the spot, it started as a verbal fight. Police say this was...
This is what I say. They probably, from time to time during work, they might go get a beer. Because this is in North Vegas. This is the hood. They might get some beers together during work from time to time. But, you know, there's always a person who goes too far. You just didn't have a drink. You got sloppy drunk and tried to come to work. And ain't nobody want to deal with your ass when it's 112 degrees. And here you are sloppy drunk. And we trying to get this shit done and go home. And here you come with this goofy shit again. So I guarantee this wasn't the first time he showed up drunk to work. Guaranteed. And I guarantee whoever his boss was, they have been drinking and probably done some meth or some shit together before. There's no doubt about that.
House that the conflict began in before that construction worker jumped in his car, began driving this way. Neighbors tell us this was the same direction that the employer was walking. We make this turn around the corner, it becomes more chaotic. 1, 2, 3 different properties, all completely smashed by that car before turning deadly. It's like a blasted movie. Neighbors.
He just smoked all his teeth. Look at this. See, look at this. This is what I'm talking about right here in Vegas. This is what I'm talking about right here. Let me show you. Let me pause on this clown.
Properties all completely smashed by that car before turning deadly. It's like a...
Look. He did a crack, crystal, fentanyl, trank. It ain't a fucking drug this man ain't tried. Mushrooms, acid, PCP, LSD. Probably got HIV. On the POV. Ain't no time. Look, this is the type. There's so many of these people right here like this. It's unbelievable. Look at this clown. He's just all lips, just smack talking.
Blasted movie.
Blasted movie.
To this, security footage captures minutes of the black SUV chasing down the employer, zigzagging through this and other neighborhood streets. Then driving backwards, contact is made. We're pausing the video here.
Well, let me pause it too, because for a drunk motherfucker, he was driving the shit out of that whip. Hey, when you hit a motherfucker and aim his ass up perfectly going backwards, you was serious. There was nothing gonna stop him today. He made that hit. Let's take a look again. Watch this. Watch him. Watch how he zagged this thing and aim that thing up perfectly. You know how hard it is to hit somebody going backwards full speed? Look. Bam!
Here as the employer is run over and catapulted into the the nearby wall.
I seen the guy laying down. He's laying face down, and he's not moving.
But the intoxicated driver wasn't finished.
Hollering at him, stop, stop.
Another one. This lady's so damn shell shocked. Yeah, and you know white people age fast, but she's only 32. Believe it or not, she's only 32 years old. Look what drugs do to people. Unbelievable.
And the guy wouldn't stop.
Anna Tilley says she told her 27-year-old grandson to get her shotgun.
Throw me the gun. He raised the gun outside. Oh my God, he's just gonna raise the gun. He raised it, and the guy just kept coming at him.
And then her grandson subdues him, later cooperating with
What dude trying to? They was white people so fucking unathletic, so slow. Look how slow they moved. The dude with the shotgun, he did what he's supposed to do, but none of them was moving. How you go climb the fence after the fact? It's over with. And then the other white dude, he didn't use so many fucking drugs, he couldn't even get out of the way. Watch him.
Oh my God, he's just gonna raise the gun. But he raised it, and the guy just kept coming at him.
And then
look,
her grandson subdues him, later cooperating with police before release by Friday morning.
He was going crazy.
You knew he was coming for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Bowman was struck by wall debris and left with a mutilated leg.
It happened so fast. You don't understand. It happened so fast.
Did you think you were going to die?
Absolutely.
Left with a stretch of neighborhood that now too needs remodeling. Reporting from the West Valley, Ryan Maffey, 8 News Now.
Yeah, they need remodeled. All of North Vegas needs to be fucking remodeled. That's what a joke. But yeah, it's a lot of dope fiend shit going on in Las Vegas, especially in North Vegas. There's no doubt about that. It's dope fiend central. But you know, I'm always end off with a Las Vegas clip. I appreciate you guys tuning in. This has been Sports, Life and Politics TV. I'm Samuel Koppel, YouTube's #1 couch detective. I'm here for the news. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I just took your ass on a former market DA with all the meth ride. Peace.